All right, just setting up our Facebook live stream here,
Okay.
which hopefully will happen momentarily here.
I hope you weathered the storm well, the flooding well.
Yeah, we were fine over here.
Good.
Let's see here. I spent a couple 3 days helping some people over at the northwest end of town, some friends of the family, and that was exciting.
Oh,
Water.
yeah, lots of water.
We are.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Are you guys okay? Are you guys okay with your homes and stuff?
Yes.
Good.
Indeed. There we go. There we go.
There we go. Trying to adjust it better.
You just have to look to the left. Yeah.
I know. That's why I normally have it vertically.
All right. Jan, isn't your office somewhere out there on the northwest end of town?
It is. We evacuated and removed all the equipment and stuff, but we were not damaged, fortunately.
Wow, that's good luck. Yeah.
I live down the street from Smallwood Dam,
Oh.
but I'm okay.
I was gonna say that's.
Many in my neighborhood are not.
Wow.
I can imagine.
Yeah, portions of a city look so awful.
Oh my gosh. Have you guys driven around Sturgeon, Valerie, St. Mary's?
Oh,
Yeah.
that's where I spent 3 days.
Yeah.
In that neighborhood.
I saw some kayaks on St. Mary's. You know, when during the flooding, there were people were kayaking on it.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Amazed we didn't lose any bridges along the Tittabawassee, to be honest with you. I mean, south of Midland.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, my commute has become quite interesting.
Oh, I bet.
To get from up there to down here, I can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Brian, can you hear me? It's Russ.
Hi, Ross.
You might have to yell.
All right, I'll call in from the phone. If you can't hear me this way, I'll call in from the phone.
No, I can hear you now.
All right.
Russ, when's that bridge going to be done on 30?
You mean up there in Edenville?
Yeah.
I wouldn't hold your breath.
Yeah, we don't even have any dates yet on that one. They've been focusing on 10 right now.
What's going on with Jones and Middle Roads?
Jones and Middle. I mean, we have Middle. Is Jones the road? Does it become Jones up there or something?
It might, maybe, and maybe at that point it goes to Gladwin County.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything up with ours. It's not on our closures or anything. It must be north of our county.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
So the picture of Northwood University, the football field, did you guys see that? That was pretty impressive. The turf was floating. It looked like an island.
Oh, no, I missed that photo.
They had pictures on MLive and it looked like it was high and dry, the field. And they said, no, the AD said it's actually lifted up and floating.
We
I couldn't tell if it
actually,
was fake or not at first.
We use dial-a-ride buses to evacuate from that area down the rail trail.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Wow.
Hi, Russ. Now we can see you.
I just plugged in the camera. I've never used it before, so.
You look like you're gonna run
It's DJ
a
Russ.
podcast. Hi, Thor.
Hi.
Good morning.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Russ, have you got some tunes for us? Because you're looking like the DJ of the year.
Right.
We all have different meetings going on right now, so
Maya speaking.
hopefully I'm not too loud.
All right, and you?
Am I too loud?
No.
All right.
Yes, it was yesterday. Yeah, let me give you the ID number. I have it right here. It's on Zoom, and yesterday Brian sent a notification again, but let me give you the ID number. Oh, that's really okay. All right. Okay, 856 5021 2904, and the password 483 879. Well, we definitely wouldn't want to keep the chairman out of a meeting.
Anyway, all right, I'm trying to join now, so hopefully it'll let me in.
Okay.
It says
then-
live on Facebook. Oh,
You are.
Yeah,
all right.
you're in.
All right, thanks.
All right, I don't see you yet.
Hey, Josh, what's new? Anything
All
new? I'm excited.
Brian, do you see Josh
Hey,
trying
what's
to?
going
Oh, there
on?
he is.
There's Josh, yeah.
Man, Russ, you look pretty fancy there.
New camera.
There.
Nice. Well,
So can you
sorry it
guys hear
took me a
me?
minute to get logged in. Where are you, Russ? I can't see you.
Looks like Josh is trying to connect. He just called me up for the ID number.
Yep. Can you
Oh,
guys
he's
see me?
connected.
Maya,
Yes, we can, Josh.
Maya, this is Dave Haig.
All right.
Good morning.
All
Maya,
right.
this is
I
Dave
think
Haig.
it's
Can you
10
hear me?
Brian, you
o'clock.
there?
Dave Haig from the city of Auburn.
Okay,
Good
looks
morning,
like it's
Dave.
reconnecting us. Looks like we had. There we are.
All right. I think it's 10 o'clock.
Let's start.
Let's go. So do we need to do a roll call?
We sure can, although that'll be on the screen. Everyone that is attending, it'll be on the,
Okay. Then that works for me.
this
Welcome,
meeting is being
everybody.
recorded on Facebook.
All right.
Just so
Thanks,
you know.
Brian. Welcome, everybody,
Mhm.
to our May 27th meeting of the Technical Committee meeting for MATS. We'll just go through our agenda. The second item is any changes to the agenda.
No changes to the agenda.
All righty. So the third item is the approval of the April 22nd, 2020 minutes of our last meeting. Is there a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
So moved.
Jan Jurgens.
Second.
We have Jan motioning and Russ seconding. I think, do we have to vote on, I think we vote on this, right, Maya?
Yes.
All approved of approving the minutes? Say aye.
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 Hi.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? I'll give it a second. All right, hearing none. All right, should we go through the reports of officers on project updates?
Actually, I would ask that we start off with item number 6, because I know that couple of members need to leave at around 10:20. So let's go from item number 6 and
Okay.
7, and then if we have time, we'll go from items 4 and 5. If not, we can postpone them till the next meeting.
All right, and I think that's being driven off of that there's some meetings associated with the flood response and working with FHWA and FEMA that some of us in this group need to be a part of for any sort of formal items on those meetings. So I appreciate you moving those around. We'll go ahead to the item 6, unfinished business. And the first one, A, socioeconomic data for GLBR travel demand model. And I think, Maya, do you want to talk about that, or do you want to walk us through that one?
Yes, absolutely. Matt staff, in coordination and cooperation with SUDA staff, we have looked over and reviewed in detail the employment data that SUDA has prepared and provided to us. This is the employment data for all the jurisdictions within Matt's area. We have looked at all the businesses that are over 10 employees and made all the necessary corrections to the number of employees, addresses. We also have looked over the totals for each jurisdictions and make sure that make sense. So in your link, the file that you received, those are the reviewed and updated files. And what we are looking for is your approval of those numbers and a recommendation to policy for their approval. If there are any questions about any of the data, we'll be happy to take them.
So how did they gather the data? Did they just call companies, or how did that data gathering work?
I'll let Katie talk about that. They buy, and MDOT basically buys the data, but I'll let her explain from what sources.
Yes, we buy our data. The primary source right now is Info Group. We also have historical data from Nielsen, Claritas, and Hoover's. So we use the multiple sources to kind of help supplement for different employer types. I think especially the representation of small employers can be different in those sources. And then we have an employment data specialist who goes through and does kind of a first initial cleanup. I know a lot of the issues will be with schools, for example. They'll put everyone in the administrative building, or a hospital. They might list it multiple times. They might have an entire hospital entry and then list each doctor individually. So first we go through and we clean it up that way, and then we break it down to the MPO or jurisdictional level and give it to you guys to review. So Maya and Brian really went through thoroughly, as Maya mentioned, looking at those larger employers and then also looking at the totals, which is including those small employers like an accountant or something who's working by themselves. And these get used for our travel demand model.
So if I look at, say, Midland, and it says Midland TAZ, and there's a whole bunch of them, are those just like small sections of Midland? Is that how that works?
Yeah,
Okay.
so I think in what Maya shared, the first page has the total for all of Midland, and then
I'm sorry, Josh, can you
it
repeat
breaks
that?
it down by. Oh, I think
My
Josh was
question
asking
is,
about
like,
the TAZs.
so you have the front. Okay.
Sorry.
Nope, that's good. I think Maya, are you still there? I think we might
Yes,
have
I'm
lost
still
her.
here.
He's frozen in time.
Yes.
But yeah,
My
these are
question was
travel
related to the
analysis
TAZ, and they were
zones.
just
So
explaining that.
typically,
Yep.
Yeah, I think he's just looking
Okay.
for a TAS,
Any
as
other
a
questions on that?
census tract or census block.
Okay.
What about people working from home that work for some of these companies?
At this point, with kind of the new work from home situation, that's not going to be represented. These are 2017 employment, but it does include businesses that are run out of homes.
Mhm.
But it doesn't have like individuals working from home.
Okay, so, but I'm thinking if a company has like 100 employees at one location and 20 of them had already been working at home before the coronavirus, would that be representative or not?
Unless they report their homes as their work location, it would not be represented.
Yeah, okay.
Katie is jaded. I didn't see the data, but does anything pop up that looks earth shattering that would really affect the model?
I would say not. I think there were some small fluctuations that Maya and Brian went through and really kept the data pretty consistent with what we would expect to see between the last model and this model as far as
Okay.
employment
I'm
changes go.
I'm guessing the biggest one we're going to have on there would probably be the new Costco for our shipping and receiving and for the-
that's not included in this data because
Okay.
please remember, this is the 2000, this represents the base year, which is 2017.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, it's good to keep note of that to make sure that kind of employment change is shown in the future years, especially if we do something in like a 2021, we'd want to make sure the employment was correct for that.
And we will capture Costco and anything like that for the future employment data for the future years. That's still to come. That portion of the modeling is still to come.
Yes.
All right. So I think what we're looking for is we need to approve this and forward it to planning or to the policy committee. Is that what you're looking for?
Yes.
Okay. Any other discussion on this or questions? Okay, do we have a motion to accept it and move forward this to the policy committee?
So moved.
Rifle will support.
First and second. Is there any need to do a roll call vote or can we just do a mass approval or denial?
I think we can do a mass approval and then
Okay.
we'll leave a minute, leave like 20 seconds or so for anybody to say no.
Okay, so all in favor of approving the socioeconomic data as presented and forwarding it on to the policy committee, vote in favor of aye.
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 And any opposed? Hearing none, we'll say that passes. All righty. So on to item 6B. It's a TIP amendment for fiscal year 2020 to 2023. Maya, do you want to talk about that as well?
Yes. So basically, we have two job numbers. The first job number, there are 3 entries because it represents 3 phases of that project. PE, right-of-way, and construction. It's a job number 210348, and it's a traffic safety project. It's a construction of a new through right turn lane and signal modernization at US 10 Business Route and Wackerly Road. That's MDOT project, and that's a new project that requires your approval of all 3 phases of it, and that's still slated to be obligated within this fiscal year. And the second project is 203157. This is actually suspension of that project, and it's various locations of bridge CPM, scour protection, and that project was previously approved, but the bids were exceeding engineers' estimates. So MDOT is suspending this project for right now, with the expectation that once funding is found within next year's funds, that project will be brought back. But for right now, you will be approving suspension of it project. And
So,
what that project, the location that's within Matt's area, it's US 10 over Sturgeon Creek. There was going to be scour protection done on that at that location, and that's being suspended for now.
So my question on that is, we recently went through some flooding, and I imagine that the state's gone through and checked all those, just like we had to do to our bridges and the county has to do to theirs, and everybody's got to check their own bridges. But I imagine this was being talked about before the flood event.
Yes, it
Suspended?
was. Yes, it was. It was ended basically had planned to do scour protection on several bridges, and one of the locations was within Matt's area. There were a whole bunch of other locations in Isabella County and Gratiot County.
Okay.
But because this project, because when they went to bid, because the cost was so much higher than was expected, MDOT has decided to pull that project for now. It's not abandoned, but it's being suspended for now.
Yeah. Okay.
Josh, I'll get confirmation too with our bridge folks to see if they're gonna bring that back in the out year.
All right. Any other comments or questions about the TIP amendments? So I believe on this, we would need a motion to approve and recommend to policy committee. Is that what we're looking? Okay.
So moved.
And I'll second that. So we have a first and a second. Let's vote on that. All in favor of approving the TIP amendment and forwarding and recommending to policy committee?
Aye.
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 And any opposed? All right. On to item 6C. The Matt's, oh, go ahead.
Yeah, let me briefly talk about this item. There's a highway safety funding allocation that came in for 2020. The overall Michigan allocation is about 60 million. Once it was broken down by MDOT throughout various programs, the MATS allocation is $68,618, and that those funds need to be obligated by 2023. However, MDOT recommends that it be obligated, that those funds be entered into our programs and obligated as soon as possible, just in case something happens with that funding. So our proposal is to add that funding to one of the projects, one of the SDOL funded projects for 2021. And there are two options. One would be Possiville Road from Gordonville to Midland city limits. That's a road commission project for next year. And the other project is North Saginaw Road from Saginaw Road to Dartmouth Road. That's a city project. Why we are recommending that this funding be added to next year is because STL projects for this year, for 2020, have already been obligated, so we cannot do anything there anymore. So the soonest we can account for that money and obligate it is within the next year's project. So basically, we are looking for kind of your decision to which of those two projects that money should be added to. Both of the projects are very heavily local funding overmatch. So basically what we'll be doing is we'll be removing some of the local funds and adding those federal funds.
Are those federal funds, are they for a specific item? I mean, I heard that it's safety funding. So is there any obligation on how that funding is being spent or what it can be spent towards?
It's more of it cannot be spent on a PE, or it has to be spent on a construction type project, but it doesn't have to be safety. It's a highway, it's a HIP fund, so it's highway infrastructure funding.
Okay.
So basically in our case, adding it to something that's, but it's for urbanized area. That's why adding it to a project that already has STUL funds, our regular urban funds is what we need to do. We cannot use it in a rural area. It has to be within the urban area on
Okay.
a construction project. That's why
So-
two projects
so we have-
that I brought up
we
are the two contenders.
Yeah, so we have two options, Poseyville and Saginaw. I propose that we put that money towards Poseyville. I don't know, Russ, if you want to talk about that project at all.
I don't have the details right in front of me, but it was programmed, I believe, at 1.2 million. Is that accurate, Maya?
Yes, it is. Yes,
And with the 600,000 match, maybe?
Yes, it's 50-50. So right now it's programmed at 50% of federal funds, STL funds, and then 50% local match. So obviously adding the 68,000 would just decrease your local match somewhat, but we're definitely overmatch on that project. So it'll be no problem for us to do that.
We're still within the range. So I don't know, is there any discussion, any comments, or? Go ahead, Russ, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the agenda. So the money you're talking about is not, it's not item C, it is item C, Matt's HSIP allocation. You're talking about just the HIP, not the
Yes.
IP.
Yes.
I think that's the confusion. The HISA is a safety component, and that would have to be on a safety piece.
Yep.
But she's referring to the additional HIP funding, which she is correct. It can be used for any component that STP funding would be used on.
Okay.
So, good.
I apologize. In the agenda, I basically had a misprint there. It should be HIP.
Nope, that's good. Russ, I think you were going to say something.
Well, since we started planning this project, we now are working with Midland Township on, in the right of way is their current path that goes down Poseyville, and they want to do an extension. So it's just getting even, there's probably going to be more expense on the local side. So any additional funds would be greatly appreciated.
I think that's where some value is received. I mean, I think that's a good project for this funding is my opinion, and that's why I think we should fund it there. So I don't know if there's any other questions or discussion or proposals or anything about that. So what kind of motion do we need, Maya?
Basically, approval of assigning this HIP funding to the Poseyville Road project in 2021, and recommendation for policy to approve the same.
All right, do we have a
Can
motion?
you guys hear me?
So moved.
I'll second that. So motion to assign the HIP funding to Poseyville and recommend that to policy for the same approval. All in favor of that?
Aye.
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 And if there are any opposed? All right, that looks like that passes towards the Poseyville project, and I imagine that'll be on their next agenda. All right, we'll go on to item 6D, Payzer ratings. Maya, is that you as well?
Sure. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, great. So very briefly, we have 21,000 assigned of it that needs to be spent within this fiscal year for PASER ratings. If we don't, we're going to lose that money. In lieu of a present situation with a pandemic, there may be issues getting NDOT staff to come out and do federal aid PASER ratings. Obviously, we're going to try and set that up. What we are looking basically from you is to tell us when is the best time to try for you, because in lieu of a pandemic, in lieu of a flooding, when is the best time from the city perspective and the road commission perspective to try and set up federal aid funding. And then if we cannot get MDOT staff, how we can spend that money is to do the local road PASER ratings. So I kind of want you guys to think about that and see whether we can set something up in terms of the local PASER ratings if we cannot do federal PASER ratings, if we cannot get MDOT staff to do federal ratings.
Okay, so I know usually we do this in the fall or late summer, early fall. Is this an action item you need right now, or can I look at things? And we're still balancing a lot of different things going on right now, schedules and everything like that. So is that something we can, I mean, if you need to know right now, I can tell you, but I'd rather look and see where we're sitting to give you a better idea of what that timing would look like for us.
Yeah, we don't need to
Likewise.
know right now. I just kind of need you guys to think about it, and maybe you can send me your recommendations, your preferred timings, and then we can try and do schedule something with MDOT staff.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
Sounds
So we'll
good.
do that, Russ. Does that work for you, Russ?
Yep.
All righty.
Hey, Maya.
we'll do that.
Maya, this is Dave Engelhardt. For the asset management, I'm not sure what schedule the two agencies are on for their asset management plans, but maybe you could take advantage of, the fact that maybe you're not spending it on PASER ratings and allocate it to those agencies for reimbursement for creating the plan. I believe it would be eligible.
We'll have to confirm with Roger Belknap that it is. I know that they were kind of iffy on that. so that's something that we do need to confirm.
And the road commission's plan is due in October this year, so.
Yeah, and
Is
the
that-
city
is-
is due, I think the city's the last cycle, so I think we're 2022 or 2023, so.
Yeah. So we can kind of further talk about that, but if you guys can start kind of thinking about that, and maybe we can, after this meeting within the next couple of weeks, we can come up to some kind of, best scenario and follow from that.
Okay. Sounds good. We have one more action item on here are the Complete Streets form. It's item 6E. Complete Streets forms. Maya, is that you as well? Do you want to talk us through that?
I'll let Brian and Thor
Brian?
tackle that, since they were the ones that's been working on that.
So just to refresh everyone's memory, it is part of our Complete Streets policy that before a project gets approved to go on the tip, it has also this Complete Streets approval, which essentially consists of a little data gathering and then a review by our non-motorized appointed person, which in this case is Thor at the moment. And then, so there's a review and then we have the form, which everyone should have in their package there that indicates which of the projects he's reviewed, which is all but 2, I believe. And then, so I don't know if you want to add anything, Thor, briefly about your review process or your thought process. And then we're just looking for sort of a mass approval of that, all the projects listed on the form.
Yes, I have actually gone out and taken a look at some of them. At one time when I got the packet from Russ, the scour protection was on there. I didn't bother taking a look at that. I didn't consider that part of it, but I think that's been suspended now anyway. but I talked to a few people, Russ, about some of these. I've talked to Kim and Jay about a couple of the MDOT ones. I have a little bit of continuing, I'd like to be kept in the loop on a couple of these, like the Wackerly and US 10 intersection. When I was on the non-motorized transportation committee for the city of Midland, that was one of our concerns, not that we had any solutions to it, but something that we were trying to think of ways to improve that area for pedestrians and bicyclists. And so there is a bit of mall traffic going through there. And the other thing I would like to keep a little eye on is the sidewalk at the bridge across Prairie Creek for US 20. And so, Josh, I might want to say that I'd like to touch bases with you at some time about the Saginaw one. I have a couple of questions on that, so that's why I put it pending. I realize
Okay.
you are extremely busy, and I'm not going to push you on that. If there's a timing issue, just let me know if I'm getting in the way of anything or so. But right now with the flood, I think you can have things on your mind. And Jim Lillo, I took a look a little bit yesterday at that Saginaw Road. I see what you got going on there. I'd like to touch base with you a little bit. One thing I would say, if you guys can keep me in the loop on these early on, what's going on, that would be helpful. I'm not really in any problems with any of these, but I just like to keep a little bit in the loop.
All right. I think I've got your email, so I'll send you a note and we can set up some time to talk about the Saginaw Road project.
Yeah, I think right now I expect you're pretty busy with other things.
Yep. So, but we'll set up some time.
Okay.
All right. Any questions for Brian or Thor about the non-motorized? All right. So is this a citizen action item? What would the action item be? Are we looking to forward this to the policy committee or?
Yes.
As a recommendation to them?
Right. Same as the other approvals.
Okay.
Basically, it's a recommendation that the proposed non-motorized facilities within those projects are acceptable to our non-motorized representative, or they are exempted. All those projects are exempted from any non-motorized facilities per review of a non-motorized representative.
Now, I had a couple that are pending. Is this going to impact those any, or how's that being handled? I guess a little bit of clarification for me.
Okay, the pending ones we're still going to be working. We're still going to work on. So if they are resolved by the time that basically they'll come, and then they'll come for approval at the next technical. So the ones that are pending are not being approved. Only the ones that been reviewed and approved by you.
Okay. And I might say I just downloaded the form, the stuff from the site. The table that says which I had approved and pending, I didn't find on the site for download. I got the table of all the projects and so, but I didn't see the status listed.
Should be in the batch there with everything else. It's the far right column.
I know what I had.
6E.
I didn't page over to the right. Okay, I got you. Thank you.
No problem.
All right. If there's no more discussion, do we have a motion?
So moved.
So we have a first.
Rifle support.
Jay is second. All in favor, say aye.
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 And any opposed? Hearing none, we'll pass. All right, that takes us through our action items. Thank you, everybody, for your comments and participation. I do want to get to we do have a meeting we got to get to FEMA, but I do want to get to public. What's that?
Yeah, we need to do the public comments really
Yep,
fast.
I want to get to
Christopher.
the, public comments and any responses. Is there any public comment for this time?
We have no public comment on Facebook at this time.
Before we
Alrighty.
sign off, I'll ask that everybody participate in a policy meeting. We have a lot of agenda items that have accumulated over the past couple of months. So it's very, very important that we have quorum at the policy meeting that's coming up on June 2nd.
Perfect. Thank you, Maya.
I'll be there.
Perfect.
All right. So I apologize that we didn't get to the reports of officers and the agency update. I know I need to get going to that FEMA meeting. Unless there's anything else, I think we are adjourned. Is that good? All right. Thank you,
Yep.
everybody. I appreciate your
Thanks,
time
everybody.
today.
Thank you.
Stay
Thanks.
safe.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks.